Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CPL Civ6 weekly podcast. This is number 14. I'm Sarnath. Joining me, as always, is King Louis XIV, and our guests today are Canuck Soldier and Blade 7 once again. Going to introduce yourselves, gentlemen.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Blade 7.
Hey there, guys. This is Canuck Soldier here. I'm glad to be back after my last time was podcast number 1.
And I'm King Louis XIV, a.k.a. Jamba.
Jamba. So we have all sorts of stuff to talk about. The Netherlands got announced. How many people were expecting that?
Like 4 people in our contest.
Oh, wow.
We had quite a few people actually guess the Netherlands.
The Fonz must be happy.
Yeah. And guess the actual right leader.
Wow.
Yeah, that's 1 point, and if they got the right leader, it was 2 on their way to a free copy of the expansion, Rise and Fall.
Well, that's going to be awesome.
Is anybody in the lead right now in that contest, or is it a bunch of people?
Right now, we have Scrub Jr., Futna, and King's Orient tied at 4 points.
Damn.
And then at 3 points, we have Senpai of Wisdom, Snowflake, and Pork Diesel. So between those 6 guys, and then a bunch of people are all at 2 points still. So,
Hey, man, you never know. A lot more to be announced.
And how many people about have entered that contest?
without counting, I would say 20.
But it's bringing people in. People are hearing about the contest and coming into the Discord, right?
It certainly seems that way, especially in
Yeah.
the first couple weeks of it. And well, we've got 7 civs and 8 leaders left to go before the expansion is released. So lots of time for people to get the right or wrong answer here.
31 people entered.
Damn. So let's talk about the Netherlands here. You know, their unique ship has better combat strength for range and melee. Do we think the expansion's going to take a focus for naval warfare?
Well, I'm a sucker for naval warfare. I love it. I like playing islands if the island map is a decent map for everybody. So I'm glad to see we have another naval power coming out, because now that makes, what, like 6 naval powers?
Yeah, for duels, I love playing on a fractal map because it doesn't like directly super C, but it's enough where it adds a lot of strategy to it because there will be ships involved.
Yeah, I think having another.
What's interesting about this naval unit is it comes a lot earlier than like frigates would. So we don't know the exact tech that it unlocks on yet, but we know it's unlocked somewhere in like the medieval era. Because when we were watching on the first look video of it, they were in the medieval era and had the ships out already. So my guess is it's somewhere to do in the tech tree, or in the civic tree, because that's usually where a lot of ships unlock at.
Is it as good as a frigate?
It's better.
But it comes a lot earlier?
Yes. I would put it on par with like the Jong. So they could throw a curveball and have it be a medieval unit to where maritime industries or press gangs does not work for it, which would suck, because it sucks for the Jong. You can't mass produce them after you upgrade.
So that makes people wonder. That makes people wonder. Like this happened to me. Like Task Force Fish was watching my stream, and I chose not to settle on the coast, so I wouldn't have that in play. Somebody coming by, but then when you don't settle on the coast, you get like a horrible start with no housing. So it's like that's something to think about for people. I think to like.
See, when it comes to settling on coast, you just have to do it, because you just can't settle not fresh water, or even coastal water, I should say.
Yeah, because it slows you down so much. Yeah,
oh, yeah.
It was terrible. I didn't realize how much it would slow me down, but it did.
Cities.
Oh,
That's all it comes down to.
I mean, they have that unique farm, it was looking like. I'm not even going to try and pronounce any of these. I'll offend everyone who's Dutch.
Polder. Polder, I believe.
What's up? What, is it better than a regular farm? What, more food or something, or what?
Well, it's not necessarily a farm. The yield of it is basically a farm, but you build it on a coastal tile.
Yes.
And it has to be adjacent to 3 or more land tiles, so you can't just be building Palm Island out in the middle of the ocean. It's got to be, which would be pretty cool if you could, but it's got to be next to 3 land tiles.
I'm sure I'm not the only one who's calling it a farm. You see the windmill, you think a farm.
But it's 3 food plus 1 production and 0.5 housing, so not so shabby.
Yeah.
On an island map where you have limited land, if you get all your farm yield from the practically useless coastal tiles, then even more to you. It's awesome. You can actually put districts or mines or whatever on your actual land and get your food source and a little bit of production from the water.
I wonder if the focus on these naval civs and bonuses are because Islands has played the least and they're wanting to direct more players, almost not forced into that desire to play that map type, but encourage it, you know?
Well, they could encourage it by fixing the map script to where it's not, you don't spawn on a really
there are a lot
crappy
of issues
island.
that would be fixed if the map script was fixed.
Yes. Because the one drawback to playing islands, especially if you don't play on low sea level, is you get stuck with like a 12 to maybe 20 tile little piece of land, and your next door neighbor has practically a continent, like 50 or 60 tiles where he could put like 8 cities on it, and you're stuck with like 1 or 2 cities on your landmass. Well, if they could fix that to where the land was like equal.
And there doesn't seem to be a setting, like, I thought there used to be a setting where you could spawn on, and you would automatically spawn on your own island. That doesn't seem to be in the description of island plates, like implying that maybe you could be on the same island, I guess.
You can. It just spits out a landmass and picks out locations.
So that seems really stupid, right? Obviously, an islands game should be like you each should go on your own island. That should like be kind of obvious, I would think. That I don't know, have no idea why they would put you on the same island in an islands game.
Well, it seems like islands is just fractal broken up land masses rather than being islands first. That's my gut feeling.
Yeah, it seems that way. But we're going to tiny bit sidetrack that. And, you know, Blade, you've dug up a ton of information and put it out in Discord under expansion information. Can you elaborate on that? Like where you got that information, what it is, what it's about? Because you listed specific governors, district buildings by tier. You found all sorts of stuff. You found a wealth of information.
Basically, it's all from the live stream they did. So I went through there and just basically went, not frame by frame, but every time like they pulled up a menu, like the production menu, I'd pause it, I would look at it, I'd be like, oh hey look, there's the new wonder they listed, there's the yields on this, and so we could go through the specifics on it. Let's see, I'm actually looking at it right now. So basically on the new Civ, the breakdown of it, you have your civilization ability. It's grow. I'm gonna butcher this name. Riveran, I believe. It basically gives +2 adjacency for a campus, an industrial zone, and a theater square if it's placed next to a river. So you take your industrial zone, put it next to the river. If you have like 3 or 4 hills next to that, then that's a +6. You're a shoo-in to build the River Valley, and it's just going to make you a production powerhouse along with your tile improvement.
Okay.
And then, of course, you have the tile improvement, which we already mentioned. And then the leader ability is Radio Orange, and after establishing trade routes to and from affluent cities, you gain a culture bonus of +1 internal trade routes provide +1 loyalty. So that's pretty cool, where your trade routes now give you more culture and more loyalty.
And do we know if the loyalty system is going to be tied to religion, or people seem to think it will be, but do we know that yet?
They did a little bit of it where they mentioned religious beliefs. So it's all going to be tied in together. It's not going to directly affect one or the other, but it's going to have some religious bonuses as well.
But it's a separate metric that's not directly related to your happiness. It's like a separate thing called loyalty.
If your people are unhappy, it's going to affect your loyalty. So they're somewhat tied together, but it's an entire different mechanism. I would compare it to something like what a passive religious pressure is. Because they've showed in the little screenshots where you have the little arrows coming from this city, the little arrows coming from this city, and it gives you the breakdown of what your loyalty pressures are. So in that respect, it is exactly what religion passive pressure is, but it's an entirely different mechanism.
Yeah, I think they can interrelate, because religion will affect your happiness, and your happiness will affect how you're influenced by, the new mechanisms. But they're not directly tied in.
And it's tied into the ages, like, so if the more unloyal cities you have, you're more likely to go in a dark age, I think.
Not necessarily. Dark ages are basically earned through not acquiring enough historic moments in the game era. So the game era is essentially when one player hits the classical era, the entire game is in the classical era. So then
is it a comparison?
So hold up, this is going to be a huge change in how great people hit the board too. Because before it would take the global average of the players in their eras to determine great people placement.
It could affect great people, yes, where they would now change arrows faster.
And is it based on a comparison, like you get a dark age because you're worse than everybody else, or is there a certain number that if you get above that you won't get a dark age, or is it comparison to other civs?
There are certain numbers here.
So there are flat benchmarks in place.
Yeah, we obviously don't know all the details yet, but there was quite a bit of food in the live stream.
We do, actually.
So you could technically have everybody in a heroic age at the same time if they all had the right numbers?
If they have the right numbers, yes. It's not limited to only one civ could have it. It's all individual based on your heroic score, or your era score.
So it's really good, which I love to see it. It seems like it's definitely making the game more complicated now, because now you got this on top. You're just adding this on top of the whole other system. Now you have to think about attacking at a certain time, because maybe if I attack now, he's going to be in heroic, and if I it's making it more complicated, which I like.
I wouldn't really say complicated. I would just say adding a layer of strategy, because you could you could deliberately go into a dark age, and then time, like, say, a cav push while you're coming out into a heroic age. And then now you get to pick 3 different dedications, and those dedications could be and help you move and give you movement bonuses or whatever.
Is that going to be something you need, like spies or something, to see what the age score of your opponents are?
No, it's going to be basically in your Diplo screen eras. So. Okay, this is specifically for the Renaissance era. You need 0 to 98 points to go into a dark age. To get into a normal age, which basically has no benefit but no disadvantage, you have to be 99 to 108. And then to get into a golden age, it has to be 109 or more. I
And
imagine
it
these numbers.
resets?
With that,
Does it reset when you get to the new era? You start over at 0 and you have to accumulate it again?
I'm not sure if it starts over at 0 or it goes up to say like 200 points. They did say after you earn a golden age, you can't. It will like gradually get harder to go to the next one. But in a dark age, it will go down, making it a little easier to go into
Hey,
a
Blade,
heroic age.
your mic
Yes.
is messing up, man. Like, it keeps deafening yourself. Like, you'll be fine, and then it'll sound muffled for a little bit. It'll be fine again. Might have a connection loose.
All right, how about now?
Much better. Please continue.
Okay. So I'm not sure if these numbers are just specific towards the Renaissance era, or if these are going to fluctuate a little bit. But this is basically how, like, your points are going to come out.
And the
So
only way to get a heroic age is to come out of a dark age. I think that's cool. You can't just go
Correct.
gold into heroic.
Yeah.
In a golden age, you get to pick one dedication. If you're in a heroic age, you get to pick 3. So, and here's an example of what like the dedications are. You have monument or monumentality, +2 movement for all builders. May purchase I can't talk right now. Civilian units with faith. Builders and settlers are 30% cheaper to produce or to purchase with faith or gold. That's one. And then another one is Exodus of the Evangelists. +2 movement for all missionaries, apostles, and inquisitors. Additionally, newly trained ones will get +2 charges and +4 per profit per turn. Another one is Hicks Son Dracones, I believe. +1 starting population for every newly settled city on a different continent other than your home continent. +2 naval units and embarked units. +2 loyalty per turn for cities not on the continent. So that's going to be great for like who's going to want to found cities on not on her continent. And then
does it say how long they last? How long these ages last? Like when you're in a
it
dark
lasts
age?
for the age. So right now, these dedication bonuses I'm reading off came out of the Renaissance era. So when someone moves into the industrial, it's going to change.
Oh, so that makes it another layer that you want to time. Like if you rush to Renaissance, you have and you get that heroic age, you have no desire to you want to tech down. You want to milk that as long as possible, then, right? So you have if you zoom into the next era, you're going to end your own heroic age, right?
It's the game era though. So if you slow down on your techs and your civics where you don't advance the next era, someone else probably will.
But still, if you're out in front, at least you can make it go longer than if you just zoom to the next era.
That is definitely a possibility.
It depends. It's going to add an extra dynamic because let's say you cav rush. You're gonna the techs how they line up. You're gonna push through eras pretty quick, and if you're flying through eras like that, and people notice you're doing it, because it's gonna be pretty damn obvious when eras start ending quick. They're gonna beeline target the hell out of you for it, because you're punishing them because they're not able to get their golden age, their heroic age that they're trying to aim for.
Right. Back to the dedications real quick. There's one more on here that the devs in the live stream actually picked, and it's reform the coinage. And your traders cannot be plundered. International trade routes provide +3 gold per specialty district in the foreign city.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so when they were doing their little trade routes, they had one trader doing 21 gold per turn. That's just unreal.
Holy
in a
shit.
team game where you're trading with your ally, say Egypt, that's gonna be like 30 gold per turn. Now they did kind of say this might get like nerfed a little bit, so they probably go down to maybe +2 gold or +1 gold. But those yields they were seeing on those trade deals were insane. So they might nerf it. Like how would they're going through the live stream here, and they're like, oh well, maybe these numbers are a little too high. Like, what did they know?
Well, they weren't working on the latest build too. They said that. So, I mean, this is part of the development cycle, the way game development works. So, what they were using for the live stream was probably the latest, most stable version, not the latest one they're using internally.
Wait a minute. You just said stable, and we're talking about Civ6. Are we sure we're talking about the same game?
Does it seem like I read somebody said they think that what they're doing with the new Civs is they're making them stronger, and then they're going to bring the old Civs up to that level. Like they're not going to go backward. Do you think that's true? Like they're not going to make any Civs weaker. They'll make the new ones maybe more powerful, and then they'll change the stats of the old ones to bring them closer to there. That seemed like, I mean, because nobody likes it when their Civ gets like nerfed. That seemed to make more sense, like to make people happy, like to just up it instead of like, nerfing Civs.
Well, they definitely said they were going to take a look at the older Civs, like especially America, where the new mechanics affect how they work, and make sure that they're not disadvantaging those Civs. So, and that goes with any of the original game mechanics. If they're going to be affected by the new mechanics, they'll go back and do some tweaking.
Yeah, hopefully people are open to, like, especially when the new expansion comes out, for maybe not banning anything for the first couple weeks to really see what's maybe that OP Civ is not so OP with the new mechanic or compared to other Civs.
Scythia will never not be OP.
Yeah, Scythia is probably the one that won't, but I would say for the rest, I mean, we don't know what the other Civs are going to be like, but the first two are pretty strong competitors. Maybe a little map specific, but Korea and the Netherlands are looking pretty interesting. And
if we get the other 7 Civs and they're just as powerful, it's gonna really change up like our current dynamic issue of who's OP, who's not OP. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how everyone else stacks up to it.
Yeah, we really should encourage when it gets released that we play all the Civs. I'm not even sure Scythia would be that OP other than in an early rush.
But if it's like a islands game, is Scythia really going to be that OP if they spawn on a different island? They have to
simply because they heal on kill, yes, and they get a damage bonus against anything injured,
which applies for any ships or anything. They won't use their like double light cav, but they could say get shipbuilding and march an army of horses over, and nobody would expect it, or link them up with their ships, but their ships are still going to get that extra damage boost and the heal upon kill.
But it's still so early to tell. You've got the Golden Ages, Dark Ages. You've got the governors. You've got the loyalty mechanic. We've got 3 major changes to the game being laid on top of the base game, and how everything is going to interact and how you're going to strategize all this. I think we're going to be a while analyzing all of these new changes.
Yeah, I think anybody that loves Civ 4 is happy with the changes, because it's definitely bringing some Civ 4 elements, like the culture flipping and the tall cities are becoming more important. So those are all things I loved about Civ 4.
Well, we're definitely going to rethink the tall versus wide paradigm with this, because you're not going to be throwing out trash cities on the edge of your empire because they're just simply going to flip on you.
Hell, I mean, every city placement is going to be rethinked now. It's not about just placing cities for the sake of placing them. It's how do I get the most value out of the tiles for this city now? Because you don't need 15 cities. You can do 10 really good cities and never risk any of them flipping on you. Or you could go to 15 and who knows what's going to happen.
So it's going to be more like you specialize. At least that's what Civ 4 was more like. You specialize the city. One was going to be like your production city. One was a science city. I mean, you can do that in this game, but it's going to be more that way maybe with this system.
Yeah, but you don't really do stuff like that until you're looking to drop like a Ruhr Valley or an Oxford University. And that's so late in the damn game, it, hardly really affects things.
But now we've got earlier game, even mid game mechanics here that you can do before that. Blade, do you want to go through the governors for the audience now?
Yeah, hold on, let me pull it up. Okay, so for governors, before we talk about the governors, let's go into your government district. So you have one government district that you can hire. It doesn't have to be in your capital. It could be somewhere else. And there's different buildings you could put on it based on your government tier level. So in in the tier 1, which is like oligarch, those other 3, you have Warlord's Throne, and this is a building, and there's 3 buildings per tier, but they're all mutually exclusive, meaning you'd only build one of the 3 per tier. Like the Warlord's Throne. And this ability, capturing an enemy city, grants 20% production in cities 5 turns. It also grants 1 government title, and of course the government is what you use to unlock governors. And this one right here is going to be the warmonger's best friend. It basically takes Australia's production bonus, nerfs it down a little bit, but lets everybody use it if they're going on a warmongering spree.
Blade, you are cutting in and out real bad.
Yeah, yeah, he's cutting out for me too. And you can, what I like about it is that you have the option of you can put 7 governors on 7 cities, or I think you can just have 1 really powerful governor with 6 upgrades, I think.
Yep. You can do governments in different cities, or one governor upgraded a lot, or a couple governors upgraded a bit.
Yeah, there's like 7 different governors you can choose from, so you could go with a bunch of governors, or just pick a couple, but level them up a lot.
Yeah, you earn the government titles throughout the civics tree, and when you get to the end of the civics tree at future civic, I believe it's called, you get a renewable government title. So if you get through the culture and you just keep spamming that tech, you can eventually unlock every different improvement for your governors. But from what I could tell on the civics tree that we were seeing, it gives you'll probably have maybe 3 to 4 governors, all at like level 3 or level 4 by the time you get to like mid game. So it would be pretty nice. It's not just like you have one governor who is maxed out and the other ones you can't unlock because you don't have any titles. So it seems like there's enough titles to get several upgrades on each of them.
Yeah, and where you use a governor is very strategic. What city you want to use it in, what it does for you. Like the diplomatic governor there, you place it next on the edge of your last city, close to one you want to flip. It can help out with that. So there's lots of decisions to be made with governors.
I really love that they're expanding the different tactics you can use. It really shakes up the game in a way like that, and I really enjoy it. I can't wait to see how players use it.
It'll be interesting to see how our warfare-centric players, admittedly, use these as a weapon. I mean, because right now our meta is basically, beeline to the best military solution and then execute it. Now there's a whole bunch of other tools in the toolbox here.
Yeah, to go over the governors here real quick, you have Magnus. And Magnus is basically your production guy. Let's see here. His first ability that you don't have to unlock. It's 100% yields from all chops. So you put this guy in your city, and you drop a whole bunch of forts, and pump out a ton of forces really quickly. Just drop a couple of forts. And then the first unlock is 20% growth in the city, and your trade routes ending here provide +2 food for the starting city. That's really good. And another one is 20% production towards industrial zone buildings. And settlers trained in this city do not consume a population. So you put that in like a high production city, and you just spin them out and don't lose any population. And then
so you can have like a settler. You can have like a settler creation city. You just keep pumping them out.
Exactly, and that's what this guy's gonna be great for. And then another one, the industrialist promotion. It's +1 production per turn for every strategic resource in this city. So if you have a city with a lot of strategic resources, you put him in there, you get those promotions, and not population either. And then strategic resources are not required in this city to build your strategic resources, your units. So if you don't have iron, but you have this guy promoted up to level 2, I believe, you can produce swordsmen without iron.
That's pretty important, yeah, because a lot of people get kind of screwed sometimes. They don't get any iron near them. Or...
Yeah, and the last one, for this guy at least, this city receives production from any number of nearby industrial zones, not just the first. So, if you're Germany, you have pawns.
If you're Germany, you've won the game. Congratulations.
Yes, because originally industrial zone production bonuses stacked. They changed that to where they don't stack, but now they add this guy in here where they do stack again for that one city. So you put them in your best city, and you're a production god.
Every industrial zone, your whole empire tacks onto that.
This city receives.
Yeah, governors are only city specific.
No, he's saying every industrial zone in your empire will affect that city. That's what he's asking.
No. It's the ones that are within range. So any industrial zone that's within 6 tiles is going to affect that city.
Dude, that's beautiful.
Then going on to the next one, we have Pingala. Pingala is focused on the cultivation of science and culture endeavors in the city. He's also quite skilled in the attraction of great people in this city. So his unlocking ability gives 20% increase in science and culture generated in this city. So that is basically what Oxford University does,
but better.
But plus all. So you put him in your best science city, and he's just making a ton.
So long story short here is that if you like Greece, you now really like Greece because you're going to get your governors fast as fuck. So is Rome,
yes.
Congo. Mm-hmm. Congo's great at culture. Fucking.
Are they exclusive? Like, if you get this governor, nobody else can get it? Is it like a great person, or everybody can get that governor?
Everybody can unlock all 7 governors. They're not great people that you have to fight for. We all have access to this.
And you could just pop all 7 governors in one city if you wanted to?
No. You could only have 1 governor in one city. If you put another governor in there, you kick out the first guy.
But you could focus all of your attention on just upgrading that one governor and get him to the stupid high tiers.
Yes, you could. You could focus all the points you have for governors from the civics you've gone through on one governor and increasing its abilities. That's a strategic decision to do that, or to create, buy yourself another governor, put it in a different city.
Can the governor move from one city to another, or is he locked into that?
No, you can move governors. In some cases, it takes a few turns to gain all the effects into the new city. But yes, you move governors. I guess similar to how you would move religious, units.
That's cool because
You
like
move
you're
them
getting
like you
attacked
move
on
a
your
spy.
yeah,
Yes,
you're getting
like
attacked
spy.
on your like east wing, and you move up that production guy to your eastern city so that you can start pumping out units faster.
Yeah, they don't. They're not on the board per se, like a unit would. It's just like he's in this city. His little icon appears on the city banner, and then you move him like a spy to the next city you want. And when you first put him into the city, his loyalty pressure is going to start effect immediately, but all of his other abilities are all going to take 5 turns to unlock. Every governor is going to take 5 turns.
That's interesting.
It's the cost of moving it. It takes 5 turns for all of its abilities.
It takes 5 turns for him to drive around the whole city handing out pins. It says, hey, look, I won the vote.
I still think at the very beginning it's going to be good, maybe a little good for noobs because nobody else knows the mechanic, and so in that sense they're equal. But yeah, once a week or so goes by, the better players will learn it faster.
Yeah.
But that first week it'd be like you could get some upsets because maybe somebody just happens to stumble in the best way to play it.
Well, I see 2 good things here. Well, I see a good thing. We're going to have a huge increase in the number of new players coming into our Discord when the XP is announced. But on the downside, we're going to have a lot of, I would say, new mechanic stress. People, are going to be pushing the boundaries, maybe claiming a little, shenanigans when there isn't any. But that's all stuff we can manage.
What do you
maybe
mean
the
you have
17
Cav Tech by turn 65?
I think we're going to see that 1700 in room used a lot more often once we get more and more new people.
Well, you're just going to get someone trying to execute the old meta and have a city flip on them and maybe pull a hissy fit.
That'd be pretty funny. I mean, honestly, I'm really hoping, in addition to the Pike and Shot they're adding for anti-cav, that they increase the damage bonus and have anti-cavalry units exercise zone of control on all cavalry units. Like, I was tinkering around with a mod with Blade, played with a ton of mods and some game for fun, and one of them makes anti-cav units gain plus 15 against light cav and plus 10 against heavy cav units. Makes them actually viable to defend with.
Yeah,
Okay,
I never understood that. It should
mentioned
be
the
like
Pike and Shot. So the Pike and Shot stats is 55 base strength, and it has 2 movement, and its base cost is 250 production, and maintenance is 4.
Oof.
So it's really gonna counter caps. You get a line of Pike and Shots with field cannons behind them, and Cavs
Oh, when can
they
you
come
get the
at
Pike and
Bombard
Shot?
Tech, right?
When does a Pike and Shot available to you though?
the Bombard Tech, metal casting.
That's
But you're
rough.
still, like Sarna said, you're still kind of in a bad situation with the regular Spearman if they don't change him at all.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that Spearmen get a buff, or we're still going to see this Horseman rush meta all the time.
Yeah, because as it stands now, the cav meta is too strong simply because anti-cav units aren't strong enough. So instead of just adding a unit in the tech tree that literally will come right when cav hits, assuming you're keeping up with the cav player, you have to get out of the way, an out-of-the-way tech and pikemen at military, not military, is it military tradition? No, that's the civic.
But the horsemen are a big problem too, right? It's not just the cav. The horsemen are a big problem too, right?
They are, and I honestly think if they just give anti-cav units plus 15 against fucking light cav, that'll solve the issue right there. And the and anti-cav units need to get zone of control against cavalry units. There's a reason people in history lined up a bunch of spearmen, had them plant down on one knee and point the fucking spears at the horses. It's because the horses didn't want to go through them.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in Civ
Like, they
4,
could have, like,
in Civ 4, the spearmen were actually a good defense against horsemen. And if you didn't have any horses, you could at least defend against them. In Civ 6, the spearmen aren't a decent defense against horse.
It's just bad that if you know exactly what the guy's going to do, you should be able to come up with a good defense for it, other than building horses yourself. But you can't really,
that's
right?
the problem right now. Like, to counter horse, you have to build your own.
You either have to build your own, or you have to hope to God you have tight chokes and you have iron for swordsmen. Like, those are your options, and it's kind of silly.
And Defender of the Faith, that would help too. But then that's something you have to get that. There's no guarantee.
Well, maybe Fire Axis is listening to us, and they're going to buff spearmen for us on the way to the expansion.
Well, we don't know. I mean, anything could happen.
But it seems like that's not a hard thing to mod, would it? Just to change one unit and say take the game as is, and like somebody makes a mod that just ups the stats. That seems like a pretty straightforward mod somebody could do.
Oh, it wouldn't take us much to mod this, no.
So at worst, we should then you just have to get players to play with the mod. But I think people are so upset at the horse thing that they would go for that mod.
Yeah, perhaps, but I prefer to see Fire Axis change the core game rather than us having to make them that we trying to encourage everyone to download. And we know mods can be a bit problematic in MP. Not just the problems we have with the map generation mod that we have, or playing the observer mod, getting everyone with the right folder and the mods. Not everyone downloads it off the Steam Workshop, etc. So having
that one change would be like a huge difference, right? People would be doing all kinds of different strategies if you made a good spearman.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, again, Dartmoor had a mod that was really simple. It gave you a production card for spears.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Or have, I don't know, a Gouge apply to spearmen. Like, come on.
I mean, they are cheaper but it still doesn't. It just doesn't. I mean, I haven't really done it that much, but it doesn't pay off, right? Even though they're cheaper, you still can't match horse for spearmen, even with the cheaper spearmen.
That's the problem. You can't just have one spear for every horse and defend. You need 2 spears for every horse to hold.
And nothing stops the horse from no unit can exert zone of control over the horse or the calves.
No.
No.
Zone of control doesn't exist for cab units, which is really, really foolish.
So, Blade, we still got a few points out of the live stream here to cover. I think we've got some government changes, some different great people, and some new policy cards that came to light, and some terrain improvements. That's what I'm looking at. Do you want to comment on any of those? Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, and we got a couple new wonders as well. Okay, that's government.
There's new resources too, right? Aren't there some new resources?
Yeah, Amber, isn't it?
Amber. It could be spawned on coastal tiles or on land tiles, which is interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, in the live stream it showed up on land, but they did say it can spawn on coast.
And what's the stat? Do we know what the stats of the Amber are?
Yes. This one looks like it spawned on land. It might be a hill and it might be a jungle. And it's currently 2 food, 4 production, 1 culture. I'm not sure if that 4 production is from, like, a ship or something.
Well, if it's a hill, that's 1. If it's a rainforest or jungle, that's another 1. So that means the Amber gives 2 production and 1 culture.
It is also a plains tile, so that's 1 there as well.
But you'll probably be able to like do something to it too, like make it even stronger with a builder.
No, this is improved right here.
That is improved. Okay.
What kind of improvement does it get?
That I'm not sure. It doesn't look like. Could be a plantation. It could be a mine.
I think a mine would make most sense for Amber, but
Yeah, it would, but you never know.
Yeah.
So you think they're doing something in the game to deal with the problem that everybody says is like sometimes you'll get a city that's got good food but not hills, and then there's nothing much you can do to
I don't think
deal with
that's a
that.
problem. I think that's just nature of Civ, you know? Like, not look at the Land of the Worlds and any other Civ game for that matter, dating all the way back to the first one. Not everyone got all hills or all flat land. There's benefits to both.
I mean, it'd just be nice if there was something I mean, I guess there are some things you can build that'll up your production even if you're in terrible squares. But then it's going to be hard to build it, whatever that something is, if you don't have any production.
And then going back to the tiles here, we have a new reef tile, which is a terrain feature that cannot be removed. It spawns on coast, and it has 1 production, 1 gold, and 2 food. And they did say it is compatible with some resources on water. So you could see a fish on there, which would add more food to it. So that's interesting.
Oh, so we're going to see stacking resources with Amber being introduced.
Yes.
quite possibly. Yep.
That's cool.
We also have a new wonder confirmed, the Matterhorn. Natural wonder, I should say.
Yeah,
No, natural wonder.
Yeah. And then man-built wonders, we have a couple new ones confirmed. And
There's that one that I think is really cool. Isn't there one that's going to give you 4 warrior monks and something else and bump your faith up?
Yes.
We know none of you are using religion still. Please use religion.
That's pretty good. It's not just that; it gives you some other faith boost too, and it gives you 4 warrior monks, I think, and something else. Yeah, that seems like a really good. Yeah, warrior monks. You definitely have to like train them up before they're any good, but I still think it's a nice unit.
Yeah, the wonder is the Katoku Inn, I believe. It's plus 20% faith in this city. It grants 4 warrior monks, must be built adjacent to a holy site district with a temple. Warrior monks can only be received if player has founded a religion or if there is a majority religion in this player's city.
Louis, it's your wonder. You must build it.
Yes.
Yep.
The Oracle Rush 2.0 has been born, everyone.
Yeah. And then we
Yes.
also just found out today that we have the Taj Mahal Wonder. And this is unlocked on the Humanism Civic.
Oh, that's late.
It's mid-game.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not
it
that
is.
late.
It's right around Enlightenment.
Yeah, it's right before it. And basically what this wonder does is it grants bonus era score for every historic moment earned for the rest of the game.
So this could boost your chances of getting that golden age every era, but just by
Yes.
having it.
Or get a
by
really
every
nice
score.
timing and have it triple you right before your heroic age would hit.
Yeah. And
Now,
see,
what
for
about
era
the-
score, they showed on here you receive 3 points for finding a wonder. I don't know if you're the first one to find that wonder, or it's just you get 3 points for it. But I know there's 1 or 3, so that could be, I don't know, 5 points or 6 points.
And then the Dark Age has its own little policy cards that you can like, so you could use it maybe to rush or something, or it has its own little like tree of policy cards. Just a Dark Age, right?
Yes, I do have a list here of new policy cards that I found in the government tab. We have Civil Prestige. This is an economic policy card. Established governors with at least 3 promotions provide +1 amenity and +1 housing. And then you have a government card that governors provide +2 loyalty per turn to their city.
Yeah, the Praetorium.
Yeah. And then you have
a military card, plus 2 loyalty per turn for cities with a garrisoned unit. And so if you have a garrison unit in all your cities, you're now getting loyalty, which this card could be probably used in a Dark Age to counteract.
And this is only available if you have a Dark Age. These cards you're talking about?
No, these are just regular cards.
Oh, okay.
And then you have Monarchic Legacy, plus 1 housing per level of wall. So that's basically what the monarchy government does. This just adds 1. And Republican Legacy, all cities with the district receive plus 1 housing and plus 1 amenity. That's also a government card. And then they did mention that there is a new Dark Age specific card. This one will grant you plus 5 combat strength on melee units, but it comes at a cost where your healing ability is now nerfed to 75%.
The what ability?
You're healing.
So
Yeah.
instead of
healing
recovering
ability.
5 a turn, you'd recover probably round it. They probably round it to 1.
1 or 2, yeah.
Yeah, unless you retreat to your own city to heal.
And even then, plus 10 would be nerfed to derp da derp da derp.
3, 4.
No.
So basically, this is a Hail Mary attack or die, policy card.
Yeah. Basically, fight until you get a promotion and then use the promotion to heal.
I mean, it sounds like a timing attack thing, where they're going to encourage players to not get a Golden Age, get the Dark Age, slot the card, and attack somebody.
Yeah, you could use that if you have a general as well.
It's plus
That's
10.
now a plus 10. So,
I mean,
And
you only need a 30
and you're gonna
difference
know-
in one shot a unit.
You're gonna know the score. You're gonna know the error score of everybody else. It's gonna be like on the score screen.
yes.
Ugh, I don't like that at all. That should be hidden.
Yeah, that was something maybe they'll eventually put in. Like, yeah, I was saying, like, a lot of that should be hidden, and you have to get like diplomatic points to get or spy points or something.
Yeah, like
But, yeah, I
diplomatic
think
visibility should be a thing in multiplayer.
that's what Civ 4 was like. That you had to get a certain amount, or you didn't get it. You didn't know anything about anything. You would just be like, you look at the rankings of the Civs and you see nothing.
That's how it should be. Like, and it would make things more interesting and more dynamic gameplay, because you wouldn't know what anyone's doing or how they're doing. And let's say you had, some diplomatic visibility with a player, and instead of, it's saying so and so has built a campus at whatever city, it's, your person, whatever. I guess if you're France, your lady in waiting heard horsemen are gathering at whatever city.
There is a fix. There is a fix for that somebody came up with, saying if you just turn those victory conditions off, you don't see the stats on that anymore.
Well, then can't you not win by that victory condition?
Well, I mean, most people just win on dominant. So you could still make an agreement to say, hey, if you take my city, I'm done. Even if you had that victory condition off, that wouldn't necessarily.
Well, like how team games are broken, where you don't see military score. You could disable domination victory, and you won't see it either.
Yeah, you could disable all of them, and you won't see any score of anything.
That's true.
Yeah, I think this is not necessarily them not thinking about the multiplayers. That this is the system designed for single player, where the single player guy wants to see all the stats on the AI. So it's a fun thing in single player that they didn't change for MP.
But sure, everybody does. It ends up meaning you're clicking on that score thing so often.
Yeah, but see, when you're changing eras, they did say a banner is going to be popping up, and it showed in the live stream where the next era is going to change between like 7 and 12 turns, and then as soon as it gets to 10 turns, it's going to say era is going to change in 10 turns, 9 turns, 8 turns. You're going to count down, so you know exactly when the era is changing.
Oh, so you can't really change it that much if you're trying to go slow. You can't just extend that heroic age forever.
Well, everyone knows about when it's going to change. So if they want to rush something in order to improve their points for the changeover, they can. That's the point with that mechanic.
So you can start it. If you get the first to Renaissance, you start the age, but you have no control of how long that's a little bit random how long it's going to last.
No, it's going to
not
last.
random,
Whenever a player hits the next era, it'll do a countdown.
Right.
So basically, if let's say we're cruising along the classical era and I pop Stirrups, the tech for Knights, it's going to do that banner announcement saying an era is changing to medieval in 7 to 10 turns, and it'll do a countdown.
Yeah, so if you want to maximize your era points to try and get that golden age, or at least not slip into a dark age, you've got to do whatever you need to do.
Yep. I mean, rushing through the tech tree is going to heavily punish players, but it could really bite you in the ass. Like, beelining techs, your chances of slipping into a dark age are really high, because you're forcing arrows really, really fast. You also have the fact that as soon as people realize you are the person doing this, they're all going to target you. And if you're in a Diplo game, man, you better be counting your lucky stars if you have friendships up.
Yeah, I think a lot of these mechanics will really be good in full Diplo games where, you make some friends, war maybe isn't imminent, you're not going to get, rushed early in the game, and you have a time to do some of these things. I think it could really play out.
Same with, and the emergencies thing's that's clearly built for like a free-for-all game, I think. I mean, I guess it can affect duels, but it seems like it's going to affect the most for a free-for-all, like deciding what emergency, are you going to join it or not, or...
Yeah, it's basically for like an FFA. It's probably not going to happen or it will happen, but you don't have anybody to gang up on in a duel. In a team game, this is where it gets interesting, because will it only grant it to the other team, or will it grant it to your teammate, and now how is he going to go against you, kind of thing. So I'm interested to see how it's going to affect the team play.
Yeah, it's interesting. They weren't in a team game in the demo. They were in an FFA with a bunch of AI. So maybe they haven't actually figured out every one of these new mechanics in a team game yet. But they've got 8 weeks to do that. So
this is just an extra mechanic of like maybe you could time it so you're in a heroic age and the guy you want to attack, your teammate want to attack, is in a dark age to pile up a quick. There's all those extra things you got to think about.
Well, you can't time when the enemy gets into an age. It's more or less like situation where, oh hey, I see he's having loyalty issues. Let me put a spy in his city and now cause more loyalty issues, or go on full head attack him.
So maybe you could get in a heroic age and then give a bunch of gold and stuff to the guy that's in the dark age, so he can just pump out quick units and go for the kill or something. Or
there's gonna be an influx of shot here, so.
Yeah, there's lots of things that still apply in team games. Like if you're going into a golden age, they've forward settled some cities, and you go and plant a Manny in your forward city and flip theirs, and then move your troops forward. That could be quite interesting.
Yeah, remember that city's going to go independent first, and if you take it by force, for all you single players out there, taking an independent city by force will get you warmonger penalties. For those of you that actually care about warmonger penalties.
They did say minor, but it's still going to apply warmongering.
So it's cool that it doesn't just flip; it just goes independent. So then the other player that got that city taken away can have some chance to try to get it back, or you have a little battle there, I guess.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an influence battle at that point. Whoever can influence it over the next turns, and that data is available if you go to the influence lens.
So speaking of Amani here, let's go over her stats a little bit. We kind of missed over here. Her starting ability, it can be assigned to a city-state where she acts as 2 envoys in that city-state. So if you need to get a suzerain of a city-state real quick, you put her in there, it acts as 2. First unlock, foreign cities within 9 tiles gain 2 loyalty per turn towards your civilization. And then second unlock here, your other cities with the 9 tiles gain 2 loyalty per turn for your civilization, so it makes your cities harder to flip. In level 3, all established in a city-state provides a copy of the luxury resources to you. So if you want source of it, you'll get their luxury resources. In level 4, it will provide 4 amenities to the city it's in. So at that point, you want to have her back in your empire.
But does it say how you gain loyalty? Like, what do you do besides governors? How do you build up loyalty points?
It's just passive pressure per turn.
But I mean, what do you? Is it something to do with your how happy your city is?
Yes.
That's most of it.
It's about keeping your people happy. You know, I know the entertainment district has stuff a new project that specifically relates to loyalty now, so we might actually see more entertainment districts built than before. Because usually people only build one for Coliseum, unless you're Brazil, because the Carnival is amazing. But
so if I have a really happy city, it's gonna make my surrounding cities a little happier too.
I'm not entirely certain.
What that project
kind of
that
vague.
Sarnath is talking about is the Bread and Circuses project.
Yes.
That generates loyalty per turn to all the cities around it. I assume it's 9 tiles. They didn't really say exactly. And so it's going to boost your loyalty per turn. So if you're, say, in a Dark Age and you're about to lose cities, you crank out projects with that and it keeps your cities on your side. Or use that to, like, make the loyalty issues on another Civ, and now you can take their cities.
But if you see that you're being influenced in one city and you think you're going to lose it, well, things like luxuries, building coliseums, anything that affects your happiness now will affect your loyalty in Rise and Fall.
Yeah, so it makes it more, because before I've talked to the top players and some of them said they don't even worry about as long as you don't get the barbarians popping up, they don't care that the city's kind of unhappy.
Well, they might care when their first city turns into a free city-state.
Yeah.
So this makes it, more important to that you can't just be like, oh, I don't care as long as I'm not getting barbarians popping up near me. Like, you have to actually care.
The the ICS strategy of planting infinite city sprawl sort of thing, that if you've got the room, you just keep building. You might want to think twice before doing that in Rise and Fall.
Unless you're the Aztecs, because your amenities go farther.
I'm gonna leave her in here for a little while. I wanted her to get
And talking about a Manny,
go ahead and do what you're
and you plant that on a city-state. Say someone's got Amsterdam, Suzerain. You plant a Manny in there and take it away from them. A key strategy. Although they're going to have to change the name of Amsterdam to something else because we have the Dutch now. So they'll have to find a new city name for that.
Yeah, rip Amsterdam. In her last level 5 promotion, when established in a city-state, it doubles the minimum or the number of envoys you have. So
no matter what they are,
if
you have 20 of them, they'll double it to 40. If you have 50, whatever is in there.
You obviously would not put her in a city you had already had 20 in it. You would have like say 2 people are fighting over a city-state and they have 14. You put in 6, 7, 8 of them, I guess, and then you double it with her. So now you're at 16. Now you have Suzerain at half the cost of envoys. But I mean that's minimum level 3, if not level 5 for fully maxed out.
So you'd have to dedicate a lot of your points on a Manny, which means you've got fewer governors if you want to do that, basically.
It just depends what you're aiming to do with your Civ. It adds that extra dynamic to really strategize things differently.
Yeah, it certainly does.
And does the loyalty have any effect on the city-states, or that doesn't involve in the
No, that's
city-states?
a separate. They're their own thing.
Yeah, they didn't mention any effects on city-states, just on the free cities.
And I can tell you for one thing, though, my 2 favorite people are going to be Magnus and Pingala for sure. especially for playing as Germany.
And what about there's some new great people, right? I don't think we've mentioned
There is
that yet.
one great person that we found in the great people screen, and their name is Irene of Athens. And it's a medieval era great merchant, and her special ability is it grants one government title or recruits a new governor. So it's pretty weak, but hey, it's one extra free title. So,
And the new units, so we know, are the Pike and the Shot, and then there's that advanced like Explorer.
It's the old. It's special ops, and it's an old school paratrooper. As long as if you have a vision of it, it can paradrop over the tile.
And then what's the third new unit that we know about? Isn't there a third one too?
The convoy.
there's 4.
Oh yeah, you like it like supply convoys.
Yeah,
so
it acts like
yes.
a medic.
It's an upgrade from a medic to where it heals your units and also grants +1 movement for the unit it's linked with.
So yeah, so it makes the supply, like hitting your supply lines, is now legit. Not like this into the strategy now.
It's not really a strategy. It's just an extra unit to bring along with your army.
But I mean, if you target it, if you take out somebody's supply, thing, then it hurts more than if you took out the medic.
Yeah, it would. I mean, they lose +1 movement.
Yeah, but it's +1 movement for that one unit. So if you have, like, say, a melee unit with that unit, now it's moving 3 tiles per turn, along with, like, say, your 4. So it could be beneficial to where if you're doing, like, a horse and a sword rush, now your swords are 3 movement instead of 2, so they can actually kind of somewhat keep up.
It's just on one unit, though. It's not adjacent unit, just one unit. It makes it this.
It's the one unit it's linked with.
I'm genuinely curious why you're attacking people with swordsmen with an information area unit.
I just... You get my point.
There you guys go. Yeah, Blade, everybody.
And so what else? What else did we not cover of all of your? Did you talk about all the 7 governors?
They only showcased 4 of them.
Yeah.
They're keeping some things close to the vest. I mean,
well, the other 4 were all locked, so they didn't unlock them. We also have here Liang, and Liang's passive ability: all builders trained in this city gain 1 builder charge. That's good.
Builders chopping builders forever.
Yeah, and you can just chop builders in that city forever. And then one promotion is plus 30% production towards city center buildings and government plaza. So if you unlock this one early, and then you start building government districts, you're now 30% production towards it. And then another one is zoning commissioner, plus 30% production towards constructing districts in this city. So you get to level 2 here real quick before you get your government district. You're now doing 60% production towards it.
Now, are they adding any new governments, like in of the normal ones that we have, like just
so far? No.
Did we actually cover the government district, Blade, and what that mechanic is in Rise and Fall?
We did, and then I got cut out here. So the government district unlocks on state workforce, which is pretty early. So you'd probably build that in, say, your capital or maybe your first expansion. And if you put it in your first expansion city, actually, and you had, 3 unlock tokens or maybe 2 unlock tokens, you could crank it out real quickly in a city that has practically no production in it. And then you have government tier buildings that go inside of it. And I said earlier, they're mutually exclusive. You can only build 1 per tier. To go over the tier 1 buildings, you have Warlord's Throne. Capturing an enemy city grants 20% production bonus for all cities for 5 turns. Or you have the Ancestral Hall, 50% production increase towards building settlers, which again, it's great for settler spamming. And then you have Audience Chamber, which is +1 amenity and +4 housing in cities with governors in it. -2 loyalty in cities without governors. So I don't think anybody's going to go for Audience Chamber just because of the -2 loyalty. It would probably be good for a tall empire if that is even a thing in Civ6 now. So my money is on everybody's going to be doing Warlord's Throne for the production bonus or Ancestral Hall for the settler bonus. And then tier 2 governments, which is like Merchant Republic here.
Merchant Republic and the other two nobody use.
Well, okay, some of these things are pretty good for, say, monarchy or what am I thinking of? The third one. Faith purchasing.
Theocracy.
Anyway, theocracy. Yes, thank you. So, intelligence agency. Again, this is going to be like France's like #1 building to build. +1 spy and spy capacity. So you build that, you immediately get a free spy for France, and then you get another one for
they get
France.
one of castles too. Oh my god.
Yeah. All spy operations have a higher chance of success. So now you have a level 1 spy, and now you have even more chance of success. So, I mean, that's France's building here. Like, you can't go wrong with that one. And then you have the Grand Master's Chapel. This is, again, for you, Jamba people. Grants the ability to buy land units with faith. So you can go Merchant Republic here and still get the theocracy bonus with this building.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So grants the ability to buy units with faith. Pillaging improvements and districts provide bonus faith. So now anything you pillage gives you more faith.
So you go out with some warrior monks, and then if you have that other promotion that allows them when they kill something, it helps spread religion, and you're pillaging at the same time. You're building up faith. That's kind of a cool little snowball.
So you use the that +1 faith card per appeal Pantheon, and then you put this one in here and start pillaging, and you're just making a boatload of faith, and now you get faith buy while having Merchant Republic. Which
every time you pillage something, you get +2 faith.
It doesn't say the yield on it; it just says bonus faith.
I wonder if you get faith equal to the gain from the pillage.
I believe so.
Instead of production, you'd get.
No, it's on top of it. So you get the normal yield.
Pillaging a horse, you get gold. With that, you would get gold and faith.
Yes.
It's interesting.
So, if you're going to be faith buying things, you're never going to go to theocracy anymore. You're just going to build this building and go to Merchant Republic, because Merchant Republic is the #1 second government second tier government to pick. So theocracy is a thing of the past now. And then now, finally, the third one for the tier 2s, leveraging city-states cost half gold. So if you're German, yeah.
Gilgamesh hero.
Yeah. Gilgamesh, yeah, that's who I was thinking of. So now, half gold, and is now half gold again. So is that now quarter gold? Or is that now free?
A big quarter. There's no way that would be additive.
But like the production bonus is if it's 50% here, 50% there, it's 100%. So is this going to be quartered or is this going to be free? That's one thing I want.
It'll be quartered. It will not be free.
Anyway, leveraged units now gain +4 combat strength. So Gilgamesh levies a city-state. He now has +4. So
all the city-state soldiers now have +4. You mean?
All the units you gain from leveraging now have +4 combat strength.
Ooh.
You mean when you levy a city-state? You mean?
Yeah.
Okay, the military.
That's pretty strong.
Could be.
Yeah, so basically,
levy a city-state, upgrade all their units, and hammer the shit out of somebody. Oh, look, another buff for Grace.
I never levy city-states. It's just too expensive to waste gold on that. So, I mean, this building, would be nice because it's half cost. But again, I never do it. So
Well,
I'll probably be.
I've done it twice. Sadly, both against Sky, which he hasn't played in a while now. But yeah, I did that to him twice. Leveraged a city state for, I think it was between 700 and 800 gold, but I was producing a lot. This would make that even more powerful.
Right.
But it is situational. A lot of people, you're spending your money in upgrading units rather than leveraging a city state. The city state would really have to be key to your attack strategy to do that.
That must be like must be like 30 or 40 units to get 800 to leverage it, to levy it. That must be a pretty sizable army it's got, right?
Or see, they have a pocket city state behind them, and you have a money. You put a money in it, you now gain suzerain for half the envoys that you put into it, and then you use this building, buy all those units, and then now
You
sneak attack.
upgrade 'em, and you fuck 'em up.
Yep.
You sneak attack.
In behind where they absolutely have no units because they're not thinking they need to worry about it back there.
Or you just, play Greece.
Or you use that wonder that gives you that you can get where you're talking about this plus 20 trade because you get this big bonus and you can't pillage the trade unit.
That's not a wonder. That is now a dedication. So that would be a lot of gold if you have that dedication. And speaking of dedications again, I read off that list of 4, I believe. It's not going to be that exact 4. I think they said like 20 of them, and they kind of overlap to some extent, but you're not going to be guaranteed the same 4 every single time.
Yeah, we are going to get a new dev first look video every week now, it seems. So they'll release a new Civ or 2, and they'll do one of these dev-led first look videos. So we're going to have lots of stuff to watch from now until February and talk about.
Absolutely, and all of these first looks will be covered every week on the podcast. We're going to be going in depth just like we did last week, like we did this week. We're looking at everything, and it's going to be great.
And I'll be pulling them apart just like I did this last video here to get all those juicy details
so
out of it.
we're your #1 resource for Rise and Fall info.
And one last thing here that we haven't covered is your alliance system. So there was one little screenshot here of an alliance with Cleo here. And level 1 economic alliance here grants you plus 6 gold from a trade route to an ally. So you send a trade route to an ally, you're now getting plus 6 gold. And any trade route from your ally to you grants yourself plus 1 gold per turn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there's like 5 different alliances now or something, right, Blade?
There are 5 alliances, yes. There's an economic, a scientific, a military. Why can I not think of the other ones right now?
You have the scientific for research. You have the economic for trade routes. You have a
Is there a
military
culture one?
alliance.
Culture and religion, probably.
No, it's not a religious one. I think it's a cultural one.
But they also get better. Like there's an incentive to keep the alliance going. It gets better
Yes.
if you hold on to it longer.
The benefits you
3
get from the
levels
alliance. Yep, exactly. They increase the longer your alliance lasts.
And you
up
can you
to
get
that
them
3rd
earlier
level.
too? Like in the regular game, it takes a while before you can get the better alliance. This one comes earlier.
Yes.
I think they still... No. I think they still unlock at the regular
Civil
Civic.
service.
Yes. In team games, you're going to get this one a lot earlier. So that's going to be interesting.
So you
And-
must be excited about that. This must be your favorite part of the new features is this alliance thing, right? For Blade,
It's
I mean.
one of many, yes, but I'm still interested to see how this plays out on a team game bigger than 2 people on a team. So if you have 3 people on an alliance, do you now, between the 3 of you, have to pick one alliance? Or can I have an alliance with player 1 and an alliance with player 2 be different?
Yeah, I don't know.
So, like, can I have an economic alliance with my first partner and a scientific alliance with my second partner? And then partner 1 and partner 2 could have their own alliance.
It'll definitely be interesting thing to keep an eye on and I'm sure they're going to change it and elaborate on it and tweak it up as things get closer to the release date. And we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. I mean, I'm personally very interested to see what all they release over time. I'm hoping they go into more depth, not just in the Civs, but in more of the other features and interactions as well. I know they do that in the stream, but led by the devs. But I'd like a little more in depth, like really get into the nitty gritty of it all. Not just, show off attack animations of a boat.
Yeah, but see, the devs, to me at least, from watching the stream, seemed like they lacked strategy. They were just going turn by turn, and like for us, they reached military science, which is cavalry tech, and they didn't think about building horses to go for cavalry and go kill people like what we would be doing.
Yeah.
And so it just seems like they're like, hey, next turn, and not really thinking about anything.
Well, to be honest, it's just they're demonstrating the new features. They're not out to slaughter the AI as quickly as possible. It's a public demo to increase hype and sales for the XP. And we realize that 90% of their market is single players, not multiplayer. So we will give our feedback like we always do, on the direct channels we have to Fire Axes when this launches, and we we'll continue that relationship.
But we did break a record, as Canuck Soldier knows. We did get 26 games in a day. That's like a new record, I think.
Last Sunday we had 26 games in one day, so that was a daily record. I expect as we get closer to the expansion pack that the hype will drive more players here, like we see like every day, new players joining, and it will only get better.
Absolutely, and we're very much looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to next week's first look and getting set the next podcast up for you guys. Let's go ahead and wrap it up here for now, guys. Big thanks to everyone who came out to listen to the podcast, whether you watched it live or you're listening to it later on. We do appreciate your viewership. It is you guys that push us to keep doing this week after week. We love doing it, and we love that you guys love coming by. So big thanks to all of you that watch.
One last thing here. There are 4 new wonders here that I forgot to mention. You have one mysterious wonder unlocking at cartography. I don't know what that building is. You have a new one unlocking at Cold War. Don't know what that one is. You have the Statue of Liberty, because obviously I can recognize that picture, on civil engineering. And another new one unlocking at capitalism. So we have more wonders to figure out what they are and see what their abilities do. So it's something to look forward to.
Yeah, and I'd like to thank Sarnath for putting on the Challenger Series duel this past weekend. It was very much enjoyed by everyone, and I'm sure Sarnath will design some new Challenger Series events coming up as we progress through the holiday season and in looking forward to the XP. Thanks, Sarnath.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. I got a lot of excellent feedback from players that played, that watched, and it's just been absolutely wonderful. I've even had people interested in making their own maps asking me, how do I get into this? How do I set it up?
Also, you got some new subscribers I noticed during this. That's good.
Absolutely. It's been absolutely wonderful. I love the support from the community, and this is why I do this, for the community. I don't get paid to do this as a job. It's something I choose to do with my free time.
Yeah, and that pretty well sums up what our community is about. We're all here doing this, contributing to the Civilization multiplayer community, and that's what Civ Players is about. We all do it in our own way, and we all contribute to this one great community. So thank you, Sarnath, and I guess that's a wrap for our podcast.
Thank you guys for coming out. Appreciate you guys sitting here listening to us. So hope to see you next week.
Yeah, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll let Sarnath do his husky imitation. Sign off.
Big thanks to everyone who came out today, and we look forward to seeing you guys next time.